thank you, Girish, for joining us.
Thank you, Nordin, for having me.
Yeah, and you'll notice Girish and I often wear the same kind of excellent colors, pink, purple. It's what we do, and I think we've been shopping at the same pants shop as well. But tonight for those who are joining us from the other side of the world, today's lunch is hosted by the Malaya Collective. So you can see some of their stuff in the background. And we're here in their office here in Bangsa. Usually we will do our lunches from a nice hotel or a nice restaurant, but thank you very much for the Malaya Collective, Deepak, and your team there for hosting today's lunch. They are a revenue consulting firm, and that's kind of interesting that I've kind of learned a new term today. They help you with your revenue, which is kind of interesting. Maybe we'll get Deepak on another.
Absolutely, we should.
Yeah. So we'll talk a bit more about the Malaya Collective later. Girish is here to talk about some big picture stuff. We're here to enjoy some good food. Today we've got some Chinese food and we've got some KFC. And I'm going to ask Girish why he chose KFC today. And it's a burger, which I'm happy about. So Girish, what is this? Explain to our friends from overseas.
Yeah, so this is Isang or Lo Sang, which is essentially a traditional dish which people claim it originated from Malaysia, but I think it did. It's a combination of vegetables, and there is a lot of good ingredients, a lot of oils and nuts, and it's quite healthy. And for those who don't want the vegetarian version, you can add on your fish and salmon, and it's essentially it's about the toss, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And are we going to do it?
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I mean,
okay.
We're going to do it because I want to eat it. Actually, yeah. Isang is one of my favorite things.
I'm quite hungry.
Yeah,
okay, let's go.
Let's do it. So yeah, this is what you do. You just mix it up. You get it going. You make a bit of a mess. It's okay. Someone else is cleaning up after this, not me.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So you need to go high, and the higher you go, the more revenue you make from your company this year.
The better the deal. Okay,
yeah.
We're going to drop some high ones, but
and it's good to have some of it spill out, because that sort of adds a bit of spreading the wealth, as they say. Maybe. Okay. Yeah.
The trickle down effect, Reaganomics.
Yeah. I'm making this up as
I know, it's good.
Yeah.
That's why Girish can also do branding as well as marketing and strategic planning. So we're going to get stuck into this now. Girish, they've also prepared for us KFC Zero Chicken Burger. What is this, and why are we eating it today?
So I haven't tried it, and I thought I'd try it live, because I'm a reasonably okay chef, especially on the weekends, and I've been doing my own vegan burgers.
Okay.
And I was told this is not vegan, and it's not those plant-based meat versions.
Okay.
Yeah? So I don't know what it is, but
okay.
I thought we'd really try it. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet.
So let's try it and see if it has any resemblance to a KFC burger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Isang first, or let's eat the Isang first, because I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
And again, thank you to the Malaya Collective for getting us some good Isang and chicken burger. Now, Girish, one of the things that you often talk about in the Malaysian media and to different government departments and the strategic planning is the importance of agriculture in the economy. Now, there's a lot of agricultural product here. What do you see as kind of the way forward for Malaysia post COVID-19? Are we able to think post COVID-19 yet?
Absolutely, Nordin. Yeah. I think Malaysia is very blessed because we're on the equator, and we have sunshine all year round. We have very good rainfall, and if you look at Malaysia's economy in the last 50 years, a lot of it was agriculture based. We have our golden crops of palm oil, rubber, and we also have a pretty strong midstream agriculture processing community. Mm-hmm. I think the community does about 12% of Malaysia's GDP, even till today, and it employs more than 2 million people. So we're starting off with a great base, Nordin, and we should take that to the next level. Yeah.
We talked about agriculture. We talk about supply chain. For me, supply chain, cold chain, it's going to require a lot of investment. How much more do we need to kind of pump into the economy to get Malaysia at a higher position in terms of having a more efficient supply chain? Do we need to go down the data route? Do we need to go down the just pumping in tons of money and hoping for the best? What's the strategic approach?
So I think it's to do with data, right? Yeah, and if we can collect data, we can organize it, if we can analyze it better, and put it out there into platforms, we would be able to propel our economy from traditional to the digital economy. And agriculture is interesting because, you know, I think less than 10% of global private equity money is spent in Asia on agri-tech.
Okay.
Yeah, 90% is actually still in the West. So I think we're sort of on a pivot here where I would think a lot of the private equity houses are starting to look at Asia in a bigger way.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity, yeah, because it was very difficult to get capital in the space over the last 20, 30 years. But investors are starting to look at it.
Okay.
And we're starting to see some very interesting players getting into the space.
Yeah.
Petronas, for example.
Digital agriculture, agri-tech.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So farm tech is something that we've got a venture on, and it's really about impacting lives with technology. Yeah, we hear about it.
Yeah.
But how do we impact a person's income using technology?
Okay.
Yeah, and there's so many case studies out there. Technology is available. Technology is also available in commercialized forms.
Okay.
So that's what's changed.
So you're not investing in a dream, as it were. You're investing in mature tech.
Yeah, and tech has evolved, you know, Nordin. I think that's the part which is very interesting, because what it used to take somebody to develop maybe 5 years, it can be done in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, because of different APIs and how technology partnerships work. So that's interesting.
You see certain parts of Malaysia. I mean, for me, I love traveling to Sabah. I love traveling to Sarawak. These are like massive areas. You know, I mean, how can we take technology there? How can we get investors there? And is that side of the country the new frontier for investment, or is there also opportunities for like urban agriculture and this kind of stuff?
So I think we have to look at Malaysia as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have East and West, and every state actually has its own sort of unique ingredients. So we have to look together and work together on this, because it's very important to have a complementary strategy. Yeah, you know.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by?
So everybody wants to do a certain project. Yeah, you notice.
So everyone wants to be the hub.
Yeah. So everyone wants to do it, and then it, you know, some work, some don't, and so on. So we need to think carefully, because, you know, certain geographical locations are very good for certain things, and that's not difficult to do. And then it's just having a sort of a unified policy, on this, and then getting private sector to come in to implement. It's being done. It's not something that's new that we want to go out and, you know, build a rocket ship to the moon or something. And it's really about engaging the younger generation, because they don't want to go out in farms, so we give them more money, we give them technology,
handphones,
use their
like
handphones,
really expensive ones,
to track what's going on in their farm, or whether it's a marketplace, or whether it's, you know, providing ingredients, looking at the bioeconomy, which Malaysia has got, you know, a lot of wealth in that.
Exactly, the biodiversity here is amazing. And one thing that I think was before MCO, you know, the time before before now, there was a lot of talk around drones and drones use in agriculture, and using drones to gather the data that then gets plugged into the GIS, the geographic information systems, that help people come up with this data that helps you manage. What kind of is the appetite for that in Malaysia?
So I think drones are one of the things that the World Economic Forum on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, they've actually identified drones for Malaysia, and I believe MDEC and MOSTI and all are working on this. We have a few companies, Aerodyne, as you would have heard. I think they're already global. They're doing pretty well, and they're moving into different areas in oil and gas and so on. In agriculture, the most important thing is viability of technology.
Okay.
Yeah, because the adoption is not as easy as some other industries.
Yeah.
And when you have a planter who's been doing it for 35 years, you want to come and tell him how to change his business.
Exactly.
You
use this drone to fly your seeds.
Yeah.
It's like,
So our experience is it works for certain type of applications. Yeah.
Okay.
So spraying, for example, fertilizer application comes back to economics. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a very expensive part of your business to apply fertilizer and you want to use it through drones, it may make sense. But what are you trying to achieve here?
Yeah, what's your objective?
Is it labor shortage or is it precision agriculture? And that's the part which people don't spend enough time on, the business case.
Yeah, and one thing that we've seen during this whole COVID-19 crisis, pandemic, is the questions around labor, and really the questions around foreign labor. And low value labor in general. To make low value labor viable, a lot of companies don't spend on housing properly. A lot of companies don't spend on taking care of that whole thing. Is there a case study now to say, look, if it's actually more viable to get Malaysians to do this job with the right technology and the right skill set, can we move in that direction in the next 12, 18 months?
Yep, I think we don't have a choice, Nordin.
Yeah.
We in the agriculture sector, a good 30-40% is actually dependent on the 4D jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4D jobs, and this is essentially the social issues we've read about it, but it's also about economics.
Okay.
These 4D jobs are technically very cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap labor. Yeah, so we need to move out of that mindset, because as long as we have cheap labor, we will never move. So it comes back to not just looking at technologies, but also how business models need to change. And we need to change the way we are even running certain segments of our business.
So can it be resilient? Are you resilient if you're relying on cheap labor, 4D labor, or should you disrupt yourself and say, look, within 6 months, within 12 months? I know it's like, I'm asking you all the difficult questions because you have all the good answers.
I can answer this question now.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because we had COVID-19.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about technology for the last 5 years, and convincing clients to go into digitalization and so on. And in the last 6 months, we've just been so busy doing stuff with technology and digitalization, because they're coming to us and saying, yeah, you told us about this, come, let's move.
Yeah, what was that smart guy? What was his name? Girish. Let's go give him a call, quick. And that, I think that's kind of the exciting part of COVID-19. It's kind of that forced reality that if you thought you weren't getting it right, and then you were hit by COVID-19 in a hard way, the answer is yes, you were not getting it right because you weren't resilient enough, because you weren't adopting the technology, you didn't have the policies in place. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Although, of course, people are out there suffering, and they are hit hard by this economic change. Now, to change the topic...
Pause there.
Yeah, okay.
So let me take something that you said. People are suffering.
Yeah.
Now that's a different equation, yeah? At an unemployment rate of 3 to 4%, and then it grows up, and you have 500,000 people out of a job.
Yeah.
And these are smart people who are flying planes and doing things. Now
making
how do we find them jobs using technology to slowly, not immediately, replace these 4D jobs with higher skill jobs.
Okay.
So that's the strategy.
Okay.
And all the ingredients are available, just like our burger here, which we haven't eaten.
I know. I've been looking at this burger. Okay, let's talk about this burger now. It's zero chicken burger. Now, why would KFC do this? I mean, what was their thinking? I mean,
so there is a big thing going around meat. Yeah?
Okay.
And this angle, people don't know.
Okay.
Meat actually produces a lot of anti-climate change aspects. Yeah.
Okay.
CO2 emissions from methane, and to produce a kilogram of meat, the amount of water you need.
Okay.
Especially in beef, is very, very, very high. And also the land utilization to make that piece of chicken burger is not sustainable.
Okay.
So I think everyone's looking at this, and the problem is you can never get the taste of meat, right?
Okay.
And
I didn't know about the
also,
try.
And also the protein side of it, the ingredients,
the nutrients.
So we got a meatless burger, but what is in it?
Yeah. I don't know.
That's the part which is very important.
Yeah.
So that will be the.
So before I find out, I'm gonna take a bite.
Okay,
you also.
You go first.
Yeah.
Then we'll see your
It's
reaction.
like two corporate guys sitting around having KFC.
Yeah.
You know, actually, we're talking about supply chains. We're talking about how businesses disrupt themselves, and what are some of the changes that the new norm, the new economic realities that we're dealing with mean. So I'm going to try this burger as Girish unwraps his. We've had Isang, and of course for everyone enjoying Chinese New Year, Kong Si Fai Chai, and Sek Fan. So this is not. Sorry. Eating with your mouth full is rude. Hi, Mom. Yeah. So this is not meat.
By the way, my wife shouldn't know about this because I'm not supposed to be eating KFC.
Okay, yeah, me either. Well, it's fine now. It's not chicken. Yeah. So yeah, Girish's wife is like my wife. She's a wonderful woman. They take care of us. They make sure we behave ourselves. And behind every successful man, there's a woman, and she's also a very successful artist. And in fact, you've got to see some of her. It's good, right? You've got to see some of her art. Another person we need to interview, actually. Good stuff. It's not. Are you sure? I mean, we're not paid in any way, shape, or form, and Girish just wants to get his hands on some KFC today without his wife knowing. Of course, don't send her this video, the thousands of people watching. But this is not chicken.
I'm not a big chicken burger fan. Yeah. But I think it's a good attempt. I wouldn't say it's a great attempt. I think it's a good attempt. I don't think there's any nutrition in it. I may be sued by KFC, but I don't know. We need to find out.
Let's try it.
We need to find out what's in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you should get one of the KFC guys to explain what's in it. But
No.
it's tasty. I think it's tasty.
Now the question is, when KFC or another company tries to reinvent themselves, and they because when you think about food, everyone wants to eat it, but not everyone knows the entire supply chain story. So how much is Malaysia involved in their own supply chain? In terms of consumption, we know Malaysia has a massive food import bill. And the problem is, for me, 15, 20 years ago when we first discussed this stuff, it was like $10 billion US. Okay, and $10 billion US back then was only 25 billion ringgit. Now it's like 15 billion US dollars, and the US dollar is a Malaysian ringgit or US, you can argue, but the reality is it's more like 60 over billion ringgit now.
Yeah.
So we're actually looking at a 60 billion ringgit opportunity in terms of getting this supply chain right. have companies like KFC, have we thought about investment in that context, that we actually have a huge opportunity?
I think you're absolutely right. We import about 60 to 70 billion, including the agricultural inputs, which are very important, seeds and fertilizers and so on. We should not look at this as a large company problem to solve, because it'll never happen, the big companies, the Tysons and of the world, are actually, they control a lot of the supply chain.
Right.
But what we're seeing is a very fast-paced movement that's happening. And there are people going out there and opening up small farms to produce ginger.
Okay.
The Bentong.
Bentong, ginger. It's become famous.
So that suddenly
it's a global brand.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
We start seeing movements in coconut. We've moved the other way on coconut.
Yeah.
We were okay, self-sufficient on coconut. Now we're down. I think we're importing about 40%. And there's a lot of movement that's taking place there.
All right.
But my feel is it's not a big company play. I think it's probably the entrepreneurs who are going to latch on it, use technology, and start to move in a very big way with traditional farmers who know what they're doing. Yeah. But they may be 60, 70-year-olds who are looking at the second generation doesn't want to go to the farm. And we see all these things coming together quite nicely now in Malaysia. Okay.
Now we talk about free trade. I mean, you're talking small. Let's go back big again, and focus it again into investment. Malaysia's smack bang in the middle of ASEAN. Malaysia, 30-odd million population, but we're in a 600. Get your hands on those tissues. Don't fall over. All right. Thanks. Malaysia is smack bang in the middle of ASEAN, 600 over million population growth, economic growth, key geographic location. How does the free trade agreements within ASEAN work in terms of attracting investment in? And what should these kind of entrepreneurs out there saying, well, maybe we should look at agriculture. How do they move? What do they do?
So I think with ASEAN, there was a lot of work done in the last 10 years. And unfortunately, in the last 3-4 years, I think things just slowed down. And we saw, the big US pull out of all the agreements. And I think a lot of that is slowly coming back.
Okay.
But this is essentially a problem with governments, I believe. And I think if we wait for governments to start getting their policies and all of that right, it'll be too late.
Okay.
We need agile frameworks, especially when you're dealing with technology. You need frameworks and regulations that can be changed within 2 months, or guidelines that allow certain things to be done, and that's going to be crucial. So I think the RCEP is something that's positive. We must be able to look at that regional interdependency.
All right.
Very crucial in ASEAN, and Malaysia has a very strong role because I think they were always the advocates of it. But I think private sector needs to take the lead.
Okay.
Yeah. This is not a government only fix it, because it's never going to happen.
Okay.
And you can see governments now are getting a lot more complicated, and getting the majority is difficult. And essentially we're starting to have a fragmented decision makers who don't make decisions, or don't make decisions fast enough. So let's get private sector out there to move this whole regional dependency and collaborations and so on.
Okay, so in terms of you mentioned governments, and I don't want to put you on the spot, although I do. When we look at Malaysia as a jurisdiction, we see, of course, the federal government plays its role, the state governments play its role. Is there a case for better coordination amongst federal and state governments and interstate? Because the worst thing I see is one state says they're the best, and then then another, and then they see another state, they just got this investor in. Okay, we also want to become this how do we create a framework that's agile enough to say, look, guys, you're good at coconuts, someone else do this, and so that we don't waste the investment, and when investors do come, and they will come, I mean, they will return, that they're not given this kind of negative sales pitch. You know, there needs to be a positive sales pitch. What do you think? What do you think should happen there?
So I think the first point that I would say, which is politically correct, since we're live, is I think we have too much expectations of government.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because we pay tax dollars and we see money being spent, and we have good accountability. You can go to MOF website and download exactly what they're spending on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Open reports
That's
and
good,
budgets
actually.
and so on. But we have too much expectations, yeah,
Right.
and we think the government needs to fix everything, including
Yeah.
our broken toilet in the in downstairs, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
things like that. So this is the part that needs to shift. I think if we can break it into three,
All right.
yeah, policy, program, projects.
Okay.
Yeah, policy is government. Yeah, they must have the policy, but with advisory from the private sector, especially if it's trade related or so on. Yeah, programs can also be government, but maybe
Okay.
leave it to GLCs or GLICs. You know, programs are things that relate to the rakyat,
Yeah.
which doesn't have maybe a physical dimension. You know,
Okay.
things like the Panjana, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
and so on. But I feel projects, let it be, 80-90% private sector driven, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if government starts getting involved in projects,
Yeah.
then you're crowding out the private sector and all these things.
How do you compete with someone who has
Simple
more capital?
model.
Yeah.
The 3 Ps, and that's how we've been looking at it in all the regional studies we've done,
Yeah.
policy documents and so on.
Okay.
But the second part of this is more interesting.
Okay.
I think we're at a stage where private sector is now this caged tiger.
I love
Yeah,
this metaphor. Yeah,
and
you
the
used it
private
before.
sector
Yeah.
is now opening up the cage and going out.
Yes.
So we're going to see this happen, and I know people are frustrated with COVID and post-COVID, but the moment this thing opens up, I think we're going to fly.
Okay.
It's good time to prepare now.
Yes.
It's good time to get the analysis. So when we do move out, we run and we implement.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've lost time. Nordin.
Yes. Yes.
Malaysia has lost time.
So Girish, on that note, you are the master of uncaging tigers, and we look forward to more and more analysis, more and more strategic thinking from you and your team at the 27 Group, who are really driving some of these positive changes. And of course, we would also like to thank our friends at the Malaya Collective for hosting today's lunch. We've enjoyed some excellent isang and tried our hand at the KFC burger as part of our own supply chain experiment. If anyone knows the contents of these burgers, please let us know. And on that note, Girish, thank you very much for joining us today, and
Thank
really
you.
great
Thank
insights.
Thank you very much, Nordin. I think I enjoyed this. I just like to know what the viewers think. Who's the better looking guy here? Is it Nordin or me?
It's definitely him. He gets all the girls. Oh wait, your wife's watching.
Hide the KFC.
Yeah, hide the KFC. Girish, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And we look forward to getting you on board the show again, and we'll definitely be contacting you for some of the big stories coming up in 2021.
Sure. Thank you, Nordin.
Thank you, Girish.
Thank you.